Simple scenes are rarely simple to sketch, so in this video I will teach you how you can break down any scene so you can think less and draw more. Simple scenes like this one on the screen right now should be pretty easy to draw, but as you look closer, you see all of the little details. You see the house, you see all the different types of trees, you see that autumn's coming into different types of colors. The scene quickly becomes overwhelming, and that urge to quit and just move on becomes very real. So in this video, I will teach you how to look at a simple scene like this, and with just a few different line variations, I'll show you how you can translate it into a beautifully aesthetic and minimal sketch. If you're new here, I'm Karan, and I make content to help stiff sketchers become loose liners. I help the beginners become pros. Simple as that. So the first thing I'm going to do is to concentrate on my subject. I'm keeping my line fairly loose here. This is a loose sketch, so no need to go in with all of the details. Remember, we're trying to make these sketches as simple and as least overwhelming as possible. The wind turbine is coming out of some trees, so I'll just start to sketch what that looks like. We have the little farmhouse right here. Let me use some perspective. So that's my main story elements done. I'm going to move on to the supporting characters and come straight to the foreground and start drawing what the cornfield looks like close up. We're not going for detail here, we're going for feeling, emotion, and we're giving the impression of items, not the items themselves. I'm actually just going to let this taper off here. We don't need all of that detail. The less detail you actually put in sketches, the more effective the actual things that you put in will be. So for example, if I drew out every single stalk of that cornfield, it'll get very messy and then the audience's eyes will be all over the place. So I'm just concentrating on this little area here so we can have a relationship between the supporting characters and the main subjects. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to draw the context. Usually I spend time to finish the subject, then finish the supporting characters, and then move on to the context. But this time I'm doing a little bit of everything. I'm starting with the subject, I'm moving to the supporting characters, and then I'm moving towards the context. And then I'll come back in and fill in the details. I'll pull the whole scene together. So I have a little tree in the midground here. There's a little gap in the cornfield, so I'll just draw what that looks like. And then I'm going to move on to the trees in the background. And you notice I'm not drawing every single tree. I'm not drawing them as they look in the sketch. I'm just drawing the basic shapes as I see them. I'll just draw some more trees in the middle. And then the last thing I'm going to do before I start to go fill in the details is to draw the clouds in the sky. And for that, I'll be using horizontally dashed lines. You can think of this as hatching, except your lines aren't the same sizes. They're being tapered from left to right. And then I'll just do one behind the wind turbine. I'll make that break because I don't want to confuse all of the lines here. There we go. I've laid down all of the outlines for the subject, the supporting characters, and the context. Now I'm going to go in and fill in the details that will bring this whole scene together. The first thing I'll do is work on the cornfield. So starting with the bottom of this gap here, I'm going to move off the frame. And remember, the lines start tightly packed at the back, and as we move forward, we add space and distance in between the lines. Can you tell why I left this gap here? So I left this gap here because the lines are getting too wide at the bottom. Obviously, if you start off tightly packed in the back and widen as you come to the front, you run out of space quickly here. So to help with that, I just added a gap here where I'll just go in and fill in lines that don't quite make it to the front. And there you have it. That is the front part of the cornfield. For the back part, I'll do the same exact thing. And like I said before, don't feel like you have to draw every single one. The next area I'll tackle is the area immediately surrounding the wind turbine. I'll just start to go in and add some texture to these trees. So I'm using hatching here, but can you tell the difference between the type of hatching? So instead of just using a vertical hatch straight down, I'm using curved lines. And that's because I want to hint at how organic the trees are. If I just use a straight line, it would make the trees look very rigid. And I'll do the same thing with this tree right here, except I'll be using horizontal hatching. But they'll still be curved. I left a gap in the middle to show highlights. For these trees, same thing, curved, vertical hatching. As I start with the left of the tree, my curves are going in this direction to the left, and as I get to the center, they're becoming straight, and as I get to the right of the tree, my curves are also becoming right. Try my best to maintain a gap there. Obviously, it's not going to be 100%. I'll just go in and darken this a little bit. So I'm going to press my pen down while I do some dots and dashes. And then the final thing I'm going to do before I finish this sketch is to add some shadow details in the subject matter. So the wind turbine actually has a good amount of shadows, so I'll just allude to them there. On the bottom side of this turbine, more shadows, there's a highlight there, and then this one is all shadows. Just going to add a little bit more of the cornfield coming outwards, and I'm also going to break my frame a little bit. And then similarly on the left side, I will do what I did on the right side. I'm just going to go in and also make some of these a little bit darker. If you're watching this on YouTube, this is a shortened version of the full tutorial. If you go to my website, futurecondos.ca/videos, you'll see the full version of this tutorial. The full version contains stuff that you're not going to see. I go into a little bit more detail on the supplies I use. It also has a lot more commentary from me as I'm going through the sketches, so you have an idea of why I'm making certain decisions. So if you're interested in that, just go to futurecondos.ca/videos. That's basically it. This whole sketch is just different ways of hatching. And by doing those different ways of hatching, you can show the difference between materials like organic versus structure. So I'm talking the trees versus the turbine or the house. You can show the different directions of the trees and how they are in space. You can see the line quality up front is darker than the line quality as you move back in space. And overall, you have quite a stunning, minimal, and impactful scene. Check out the playlist on the top for some more minimal tutorials. Or if you're a beginner that just wants to get a grasp of the basics before jumping into anything more complex, check out this playlist here that I created just for you.